The Nationals do not have much going for them this year, but I have got 3 offseason priorities that they have to figure out this year.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And yes, I'm your host, Ryan Clary, your Nationals insider here on Locked On Nationals. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. And later on in today's program, we will have a discussion surrounding the Pittsburgh Pirates, as yet again, the Washington Nationals, with the Pirates coming to town, are missing out on Paul Skeens. That sucks. We'll have that discussion later on in the show today. And in the second segment, could the Nationals try to explore some trade possibilities this offseason to improve? I think they will. And honestly, they might be moving off some of their big-time talent. We'll hear that discussion later on in the show today. But we'll start off discussing some of my top priorities. And the number one priority is you have to figure out the future of the front office. We'll discuss that. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. And right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. So my number one of 3 Nationals offseason priorities is that they have to hit a home run with the GM hire. As far as the Washington Nationals go, you have been gutted as far as this season goes. Mike Rizzo, the president of baseball ops since literally the 2000s, he was obviously blown out this offseason, or during the season, rather. Davey Martinez, the guy who brought you a 2019 World Series, he is also gone from the fold here. You have to figure out the new direction of this organization, and I cannot hit that home enough. The Nationals right now lack direction. Although, I will say this under Mike DeBartolo, he has made it very clear that they need to be more analytically sound, and I 100% agree with whatever he is saying as far as that goes. This is a team that has lacked analytics, that honestly has lacked direction since winning the World Series in 2019, and you need to get back on that track. Teams without a direction are a team, in my opinion, that is just completely shut out at this point. You will have nothing going for you if you have no sense of direction, if you have no plan in place to really kind of contend here in the future. And as the season went on, it became very clear that this team lacked direction. They did not see the vision with this rebuild. They did not understand that, hey, this is going to take some time. The Nationals, and really kind of what did Mike Rizzo and David Martinez in my opinion, is that all offseason long, all spring training long, and even early on this season, they were saying, we are ready to compete. We're ready to take that next step. We're tired of losing 90-plus games a season. We're ready to win. No one was really expecting them to win in a big way, but they were the ones who set up those expectations for better or for worse. And ultimately, those two guys were canned in the middle of the season. That is kind of, again, not understanding the direction that you are in. And honestly, if you did believe that, if you thought that you would win this year, shame on you. That is a bad recipe right there. This team was never ready to win. You could make a case for some things going the other way. Maybe the bullpen doesn't have a historically bad start. Okay, maybe they're a little bit better. Maybe you anticipate a step up from Jake Irvin, a step up from Mitchell Parker. I guess that kind of makes sense. But what if it went the other way, which is what happened? That was never thought of. There was never a plan B in those cases. After that, it was just like, well, let's hope Travis Sakura can really kind of hone in on his craft and maybe make the jumps to the majors this season. That was maybe a thought. Harleen Susanna in that equation as well. You have the number 1 overall pick. You landed with the 17-year-old high school prospect who I love right now, by the way, but still, he's not going to help you right now. He's not going to help you in 2026. There was no future plan for this team. So that is my number one offseason priority, is get a new GM here in town, which obviously is ramping up here pretty quickly. And we expect the Nationals to name a GM over the next few weeks here. So that's the number one offseason priority. Get a new GM and get a new sense of direction. My number two, you have to address this starting rotation. Looking at the Nationals' team pitching stats, and again, this includes the bullpen as well, but honestly, the starting rotation numbers are not much better, but let's just kind of put things in perspective for you. The second worst team pitching ERA belongs to the Washington Nationals with a 5.30. You're only behind the Colorado Rockies, who basically have a 6 ERA at this point. Furthermore than that, let's go to WHIP. The Nationals, as far as WHIP goes, have the third worst WHIP in Major League Baseball behind the Angels and the Rockies as well. They have a 1.43 WHIP on the season. And then you get into home runs. The Nationals love to give up home runs. 6th most home runs this season in Major League Baseball with 190 home runs given up. Let's go to walks. The Nationals, they like to walk players as well. This Nationals team has walked the 7th most batters this season. Guys, we have a pitching problem. At one point last season, you saw Mitchell Parker make his debut. We thought he was pretty good. He's solid at times. We've seen him put things together. We've seen him have quality starts. But right now, the wheels have fallen off. It's obvious that he's not part of this rotation moving forward. DJ Hers may come into the rotation again next season and look good. I really like DJ Hers. I still believe in DJ Hers. But even then, you have to have that kind of Patrick Corbin role of a leader in this rotation. I don't want the production of Patrick Corbin these past few seasons, but even then, look what he's doing in Texas. He's not bad. This is clearly a Nationals issue. This is clearly something within the organization that they simply cannot figure out at this point. You have got your two blue chip prospects with Sakura and Susana. Sakura is done for the season, most likely at this, or Susana is done for the season at this point. And then Travis Sakura just had Tommy John surgery. He likely won't be back and will likely miss the entirety of 2026 as well. This is going to take some time. You have to go into this offseason with the number one priority being the GM, and then right behind it is addressing the pitching situation. Figure out who's going to be in your rotation and figure out who is not. And move those resources elsewhere, whether it be to the bullpen, whether it be moving them via trade. You have to do something different. And you have to address this rotation. You simply do not have enough horses in the stable, meaning you do not have enough prospects in your system at this point to really kind of rely on having a good rotation in 2026. Things have to change. And with that change, hopefully comes in free agency, and hopefully the Nationals really address this thing. Because again, this has been one of the worst pitching seasons that I have seen by this team, and that means a lot. My number 3 issue. Figure out the catcher situation. You have got Caleb Lomavita down in the minors. He's had a solid season. He's been fine, but not overwhelmingly good. You can't sit here today and say, oh, he's going to be the future at the catcher position. I can't say that confidently. You have got Keibert Ruiz, who is obviously dealing with a lot of health issues right now. He hasn't played baseball since early on in July, and Keibert Ruiz, unfortunately, was taken off his rehab assignment just here a few days ago over the weekend. And Keibert Ruiz, again, he's got some issues, obviously, health-wise. That is at the forefront of this discussion. But he's also not the solution of the catcher issue. And yes, he is under contract all the way through 2030, but that contract is easily movable in my opinion. Maybe not via the trade market, but if you want to cut ties with them, I think you could do that. Keibert Ruiz, again, the prospect and what he could be has always been much better than the production on paper. He has not been able to put it all together at this point. And unfortunately, that might go into some of the Nationals' pitching issues as well. Number 2 and number 3 here, I do think they kind of marry each other a little bit. They belong together. Pitching issues and catcher issues, that battery, that has to be a solid connection. That we saw with 2019 with Kurt Suzuki and Yan Gomes as a tandem behind the plate. They were awesome defensively at times. You saw it. They called great games. They understood their assignment. They understood what to do in certain situations, and they've obviously have studied up on these hitters as well. That is something that has to be addressed this offseason. Quite frankly, I'm kind of tired of not having a franchise catcher since letting Wilson Ramos walk to the New York Mets. Things have to change, and hopefully things will change this offseason. But those are my 3 priorities. Again, number 1, you have to get the GM hire right. Number 2, you have to address the starting rotation, and also not even just the rotation, but also the bullpen, who admittedly has looked a lot better as of recent. But then number 3, getting the catcher position right. Those are my 3 offseason priorities. And it really starts in free agency and with getting a new GM here in town, which hopefully will be coming here soon. But with that in mind, we talked a lot about free agency. One thing we did not mention is the trade market. I do think the Nationals will be active on the trade market. And yes, I think they could be sellers, but I also think they could be buyers. We'll discuss that after this. You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. Well, there are so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. And that is why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. And it's not just hype. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. And I started noticing less shedding with one of my buddies who just started Nutrafol, and his hair is looking stellar. Whether you are at work or out with his friends, you can see that he is getting ready in the morning, and Nutrafol gives you more confidence in your daily routine. So see thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. And for a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Locked On MLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Locked On MLB for $10 off your first month subscription. And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. If you haven't done so already, make sure to look us up, Locked On Nationals, wherever you get your pods. Again, look us up on YouTube, Locked On Nationals. Hit that subscriber button, and as well as wherever you get your podcasts. So now let's talk about this. The Nationals need to explore fixing these issues via the trade market. People are not going to like this, but I am willing to ship off some of our young talent. The young talent at the top of my radar at this point, unfortunately, to be traded away, might be Robert Hassel III, and also someone like a Jacob Young, your 4th outfielder, baller defender, Gold Glove caliber defense from both those guys. And I think they could get value in return. Let's start with Robert Hassel III. Being a first-round pick, being a highly touted prospect, putting up some really solid numbers at times here in DC, I think one thing has stood clear. The Nationals have figured out their 3 outfielders. It's James Wood, it's Dylan Cruz, and then it's Dalen Lyle, who has had a complete dominant rookie season, and in the second half has proven that he is a top talent here with the Washington Nationals. Those are your 3 guys. That leaves Jacob Young and Robert Hassel III. Now, if I were to hold on to either of those guys, I would probably go to Jacob Young, and here's why. I think you could get more value in return from Robert Hassel III. Robert Hassel III is a plus defender with a plus arm, who runs the bases, who's got some pop, and has the ability to hit for average. That could get you something in return. And again, only being 24 years old right now, that would be a pretty decent return. And a team out there would certainly be willing to take a chance on trading for him in today's market. Robert Hassel could probably start in the outfield for a lot of different teams in Major League Baseball, and not just, younger teams trying to ascend and get over that hump. Contending teams might be looking to trade for a Robert Hassel III type of player. He brings a lot of value to a team. Again, you look at what he can do right now. He's great defensively. He's got the ability to hit for average. He's got all those tools that you would want, and he's also still very young. If I'm the Nationals, I would certainly try to address some of your issues this offseason by potentially moving off of a Robert Hassel III prospect. And if they decide not to, great. Let's try to figure out something else. Maybe you move James Wood in at first base and Robert Hassel III gets moved in that third outfield spot. Maybe Dalen Lyle is your full-time DH, or maybe you try to move him to second base. Maybe you do something insane like that. That could make it work for Robert Hassel, and then that opens the door for a Jacob Young trade. But also, with return in value, Jacob Young is not going to generate as much as Robert Hassel III. Jacob Young, the scouting report is out on him. He's not going to do anything offensively. He is a well below average offensive player. Defensively, Gold Glove caliber center fielder right there. If I'm the Nationals, that's value to us. If you need to play him in a pinch, or if you want to have that defensive substitution and put him in the outfield and also have him run the bases, then fine. That's your wish. And honestly, that's kind of a winning recipe. So if I'm the Nationals, I'm looking to move off of Robert Hassel III. And again, if that doesn't work out, then I'm looking to move off of Jacob Young. The outfield is a very crowded room at this point, and you also still have a lot of young talent down there. Just looking at their Nationals prospect list right now, you've got a ton of different guys. You've got Christian Franklin, who you just traded for at this year's deadline. You've got a couple other guys like a Sam Peterson in high A who has really looked good. Christian Vaquero as well. You've got a ton of different guys. Andrew Pinckney. You've got a lot of different outfield prospects, and this room is getting very tight as we speak. So I would look to move off some of your outfielding prospects. One guy that I would really be willing to trade, though, at this point, and honestly, I could see it happen. I could really see this happening, actually, is your number 7 prospect in the system, according to MLB Pipeline, and your 2024 first-round pick, Seaver King. I would be willing to move off of Seaver King at this point, and here's why. I don't know if Seaver King will be able to develop. I'm not 100% convinced that his tools will be able to reach the kind of the tip-top shape that we would expect from a first-round pick. And this may be recency bias, but if you look at the numbers this season, he has really struggled at times. Having a 598 OPS in AA, in my opinion, he was prematurely promoted to AA. He was not hitting the ball too well at high A Wilmington. And right now, he has not been able to hit the ball in AA Harrisburg either. I'm not saying this will never work out. In a lot of different organizations out there, they might look at him and say, we could fix him. But also with what this Nationals team has not done well, at least under the last regime here, they have not been able to develop these raw prospects. That is exactly what Seaver King is. So maybe this new regime comes in town here and they're like, Seaver King is very talented, which he absolutely is, but also he hasn't been able to put up any production at this point. The power has not been there. Hitting for average has not really been there either. Hitting for just hitting in general has not been there at this point. 18 stolen bases in AA, 30 stolen bases on the season. That's impressive, but still, I need to see more production from someone like that. He is a stud defender, and that stays true today. But also, I'm not going to have someone in my middle infield tandem who simply cannot hit right now. Maybe you decide to move off him, and maybe that someone that you get in return is a starting pitcher that has a couple of years of control left. Maybe you package in a Robert Hassel with a Seaver King, and a team is willing to give up a younger starting pitcher or someone who is a proven talent right now who might be having an expiring contract in the next 2 seasons. The Nationals get some starting pitching help. That's kind of where we are at today. And if I'm the Nationals, I am definitely exploring the trade market this offseason. Because quite frankly, let's be honest here. Are you sure that they're going to spend the money to get high-end talent in the building here? Not necessarily. I'm not convinced by it. Are you? Probably not. The way that this is going to happen is probably via trade. And this is probably going to happen this offseason if you do want to take that next step up, if you do want to see younger pieces in this building. But right now, again, the first segment we talked about the Nationals needing to address things in free agency. Are they really going to in a big way that's going to change things? Likely not at this point. So if I'm the Nationals, I am going to be heavy on the market this offseason and working the phones and trying to make some trades. That is what will get this team in a better spot, in my opinion. So moving forward, again, you have to explore this trade market. You have to try to do anything in your power to make this team better because, quite frankly, this season has not been enough just yet. So thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Next, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates coming to town. Another bottom dweller team, unfortunately, makes their return to Washington, D.C. We'll talk about that series as we miss out on Paul Skeens yet again. And yes, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure that you are ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. This weekend, I've got the Lions on the money line with Jared Goff over 287.5 passing yards against the Chicago Bears defense. Ben Johnson coming back to Detroit. That's going to be a fun game. And also, using FanDuel, I can make money while watching my sports, but also it just adds to the action as well. So if you're ready to play, which I bet you are, you have to download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That is FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Again, visit FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. Again, that is FanDuel.com. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So the Washington Nationals take on the Pittsburgh Pirates at home, and for the second straight year, we miss out on Paul Skeens at home. This sucks because, again, Paul Skeens is probably the best pitcher in baseball today, and I do not mean that in any exaggeration. He is, in my opinion, the game's best pitcher. I don't even know if that's up for debate at this point. He is a star. Just one of the best pitchers that we have seen, the most dominant pitchers that we have seen across their first 2 MLB seasons. And unfortunately for the Nationals, we are missing out on that. And how good would it have been if it lined up for tomorrow, Dylan Cruz bobblehead day, going up against Paul Skeens? How electric would that have been? I can tell you right now, that would have been probably one of the best games all season and maybe one of the biggest crowds all season outside of opening day and then going up against the Dodgers. That would have been an electric scene. But of course, the Nationals are missing out for the second straight season going up against Paul Skeens. It sucks because, again, I want to see Paul Skeens in Nationals Park. You'll still see him. If you get there early enough, you might be able to catch him throwing a bullpen. But still, we all wanted to see that Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz matchup at home, and unfortunately, we are not going to see that this season. But you will be seeing a Brad Lord and Mitch Keller performance tonight. I love Brad Lord at this point. I mean, again, he has kind of had a little bit of a tough go of it over his last 7 starts here recently. He got knocked around a little bit over his last couple of starts here. His most recent start, though, looked pretty good again, going up against the Cubs last week. 5 2/3 innings pitched, only 2 hits given up in that 1 earned run. But the 2 starts prior to that, he gave up 6 earned runs and 7 earned runs. And the start before that gave up 4 earned runs and did not really look too hot in the 3 starts prior to his last good one. So maybe Brad Lord is back in the swing of things here, but he's also going up against Mitch Keller, who has primarily struggled this season for the Pittsburgh Pirates. But even then, looking at it, this is a good pitcher who can turn it on for the Nationals. And honestly, we have struggled against Mitch Keller in years past. So this might be one of those kind of dogfight kind of games tonight. Could be a high-scoring game, but you could also convince me that it could be a relatively decent pitching duel going on between Mitch Keller and Brad Lord. But this weekend as well, the pitching matchups that you'll want to watch for. Tomorrow, you got Andrew Alvarez making his 3rd start, who has been incredible through his first 2 starts. And then you've also got Bubba Chandler, a former top prospect, the Pittsburgh Pirates. He is making his 2nd start of the season. This will be an intriguing start for the Nationals. We'll see what Bubba Chandler can do for the Pittsburgh Pirates going up against Andrew Alvarez. But this will be a fun weekend series. Again, both these teams out of contention. Right now, none of these teams are fighting for quite literally anything at this point. They're inching their way towards the finish line for the 2025 baseball season. But still, baseball this weekend, Dylan Cruz bobblehead tomorrow. You will not want to miss it. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Go Nats.